have up on our site later today or tomorrow, so you don't have to take notes too much if you don't want. So I'm Mickey Mellon. For those of you who don't know me, I work with Green Mellon Media, with Susanna and with a few other stragglers that should be coming along fairly soon. We do WordPressy stuff for years and years and years now. I love it and love going to other meetups and love attending meetups, and so I just wanted to make one more to have more meetups. You can find more about the meetup group at allthingswordpress.com. I think most of you have already seen it on meetup.com, which is the main thing. We have a Facebook group, a LinkedIn group, a Google Plus community, just for asking questions between meetups. If you get stuck on something, you can sort of ping everyone else. Facebook group's fairly active, the others not so much, but I mean, do what you want. Jeff Sheehan posted earlier on our meetup page too, noting that on your meetup profile, it'd be great if you guys could fill out a little more info. You know, we're often looking for who is that guy, what does he do? And we go and there's no picture, no last name, and no nothing. So having a bit more info, photo, name would be great as your internal privacy filter will let you do. We also have a Slack team if you want to join us there. You can sign up at allthingswordpress.com/Slack. Slack, for those that don't know, we'll talk more about it later. It's kind of an instant messaging, chat roomy sort of thing. We're not using it a whole lot with this yet. We use it a ton internally at Green Mellon, and there's different ones for the big WordPress folks and all kinds of different things. But maybe that will get going, maybe not. We'll see. But you can sign up there and join us and check it out. A few upcoming meetups. Diana and Aaron are in here February 4th, a couple weeks. What are you talking about? Do you know yet, Diana?
We're going to begin a series on building your own starter theme.
All right, there you go. So a new series on building your own starter theme. So yeah, that group is more for the developer folks. If you're not interested in code, you shouldn't come. But if you are, it's a great place to learn. Kathy's next one is February 11th in the evening at the East Cobb Government Center, talking about SSL certificates for e-commerce. And those are big words, but it's really, I'm sure, aimed at beginners. Like if you don't know what that means, you want e-commerce, and this is all over your head, that's where you go learn about what that means and how to do it and why it's really not so scary. She's meetup.com/WP Atlanta. Our next one, February 18th, Allie will be leading a little design panel. We're going to be in the small room for that one next month, just because this room's taken with some school system thing. So it's going to be a lot more limited on space, so go RSVP for that now. But the creative side of WordPress, a little panel of folks just talking about various creative things related to WordPress, tools and techniques and ideas and trends and whatever they get to there. And then a lot of you probably saw the email. We're going to start another business track every month, ideally on the 4th Thursday, talking about pricing and legal and all that kind of stuff. We run a WordPress-focused business. The library cannot get us in on the 4th Thursday either of the next 2 months, so we're looking at options, but probably starting in April. So just be looking for that to come later. That'll be kind of cool. WordCamp, we've talked about plenty, but those of you that aren't familiar with WordCamp, it's a big convention downtown in a couple months for kind of a large meetup, basically about 500 people, 48 different sessions on all things WordPress, from very beginner stuff to super crazy development stuff that's over all of our heads, and a lot of stuff in between. Landed.wordcamp.org for info. I would say go and get on the mailing list for it, because when tickets go on sale, they sell out really fast. 500 seats go in a matter of hours. So we'll let you know as a meetup, kind of give you an inside link on that to try to get you in, but it goes quick. If you're interested in speaking at WordCamp, speaker applications are up now. And thoughts in the back?
Just a note, even if you signed up for the mailing list last year, you need to go to the website and sign up again this year, because
yeah, okay, there you go. So if you signed up on the mailing list last year, do go and sign up again this year to make sure you're on it. And really, if you're set up to receive messages from meetup folks like myself and Kathy, we'll certainly be pushing it out that way too. But if you want to get in, just pay attention to that. Food in the back, Tom and Chi, is free for you guys to have, thanks to Mr. Carl Becker at ClickHost, who will come up for a minute and tell you a bit about himself. Sponsors every month to give you this food, so he'll tell you about his awesome hosting.
Well, before I do that, I just want all of us to give Mickey a hand, because there's so much that goes into this. He does it, out of his own free will and lots of time. So let's give him that. There's still a ton of sandwiches in the back. I'm not taking it home, so please help yourself. There's sandwiches, there's some soup, and some very healthy cheese donuts. Put your business card in if you would like to be in the drawing today for a free year of hosting with ClickHost, as well as we have 2 Tom and Chi gift cards. One thing I want to highlight today about ClickHost, we do a lot of things around security, and we have a couple of services that if you're not hosted with us, we can still help you if you have malware or something bad going on in your website. There are a couple of products. We can do a full audit of your WordPress site, where we'll give you some recommendations in terms of how to make sure it doesn't happen again. But we local, we love WordPress. I'm part of the organizing committee of WordCamp. That will be middle of March, and just love to support local business. Happy to discuss anything with you afterwards. Thank you.
All right, so let's dig in. So the best tools to make things happen. And as I go, I've tried to incorporate a lot of the suggestions you guys had in the RSVP form for tools you use, but if I skip something, do please interrupt me, and let's, as we hit each topic, certainly cover any other tools you guys use that maybe I didn't cover here. A few things before we start, a couple just comments on how Green Melon and how Mickey Mellon handle business, and that'll sort of affect the tools I choose, which may not be the tools you want to use. One, we aim for inbox 0 every day. Hit it most days. Doesn't mean we do everything every day, because we get a lot, but it just means having a place to put your emails. And we'll talk about some of those systems, getting tasks out of there. Between my 2 Gmail accounts I looked the other day, I have like 375,000 emails in them. So it's not deleting emails, just dealing with it and keeping things empty. And also we use tools for the most part that are accessible from any computer. And our focus is not on what can I have that'll work locally, but just making sure we're always online. Some people say, I want to make sure I can be functional even if I'm offline, and that's certainly a good way to go. We pay for Verizon hotspots and stuff to make sure we're always online. If we're not, we're toast. So again, different ways to handle things. There's certainly good reasons to have offline tools to use if you want to do it that way. I like Verizon because they're a pain in the butt, they're expensive and stuff, but their commercials are fairly accurate, that they are by far the best coverage if you travel at all. Everything we do is platform agnostic to the extent possible. It works on Windows and Mac and iPhone and Android, because we have all of those in our office. I have the Android and Windows stuff, and everyone else is all the Apple, but still, we have a variety of both. Most are web-based for that. And really, because we want things that are platform agnostic, we don't use a lot of Apple apps, because Google and Microsoft and stuff make their apps available to everyone, and Apple doesn't. So you'll see some of that. So there may be good cases for you to use Apple apps that we don't, but we'll get into that. Another angle we come at from David Allen's book, Getting Things Done. How many have read this? Not many? I thought we'd see more. I would say without this, Green Melon Media doesn't exist, just because getting my acting gear and getting organized and figuring out systems let me work a full-time job and work in the evenings on this, and I wouldn't have been able to manage it without. It's an old book, 20 years old maybe. I think they have a new version out now.
The key is to read it.
Yeah.
I have it, and read about a third of it.
There you go.
To actually put it into practice.
Okay, well, I'm going to interrupt for a second. You were here at the library, and they have the audio version downstairs.
Oh.
Check it out. It's
There you go.
worth sitting in traffic listening to it.
Right, I didn't even think of audio.
And he gave a talk at Google, again, like a decade ago. If you search for David Allen Getting Things Done Google, you should see this old video. It's like an hour long, but it covers pretty much all the premises in there. And his whole theory, his main thing is you should have a mind like water. He has a lot of like ninja kind of references. With the idea being, if there's a still pond, you throw a small rock into it, it responds small. If you throw a big rock in, it responds big. And if you have your stuff in order, you can respond appropriately to stuff coming in. Instead of having chaos around and not knowing what's up, you can say, okay, have acting gear, that problem came in, not a big deal, that was bigger, And so that's what a lot of this is, just trying to figure out how to get everything together. Certainly go well beyond getting things done, but we'll go there. I tried to break things up into sections. Again, we have a lot of different tools and some overlap, and you guys suggested a bunch, but I tried to break them down into 8 different sections here. We'll kind of work through each. Email and tasks, files and notes, communication, education and reading, social media, development, like WordPress development, SEO, search engine optimization, and business. And again, we'll have slides for all this posted so you can see all that later. And again, in each section, please do chime in with other thoughts I may have missed. So emails and tasks first. That's kind of a big one for us. Our main one to conduct email is Google Apps. I was talking to Jeff beforehand about what email platform we use, and well, I love ClickHost, I love other hosting providers. I like to have email in Google Apps just because it's beautiful. It works so well. If you're not familiar with Google Apps, it's basically Gmail, but with your domain name and your logo and all the Gmail goodness, but branded for you. They charge $5 per user per month, so it's very affordable. If you're a nonprofit, they give it away for free. Then not only that, you get all the other Google goodies. I'm using Google Slides for this presentation, which is nice, as I said a couple days ago. Allie, go look at my slides and go make them look a little nicer, because I don't make pretty slides. It's nice, you can just share stuff virtually that way without any email files back and forth. I think most of you are probably familiar with Google Apps to some degree, Google Docs and all that, so I won't go too much into that. And talking about Inbox Zero again, just a little bit. Again, we try to keep our email down to nothing. I have a link at the bottom. I have a number of these with resources. Some are blog posts we've written. Some are external resources. That's an older blog post, gmm.2/getinbox0, that I think has a couple good videos on it. Has a great one from Merlin Mann, who ran 43 folders for years. I'm not sure. I've followed him on Twitter for a while. He's kind of gone crazy lately, but he was brilliant back then. Has a great video about keeping things empty. And Google has great tools in it to help you get to zero. If you use Gmail, for example, there's a setting ad called Send and Archive, a little button. And what it does, instead of hitting send in an email, going back to your list, selecting it, and archiving it, you hit send and archive, it does it one shot. So, okay, that's kind of nice. If you have 100 emails a day and you save 5 seconds each, that's 50 hours a year you just saved with one stupid little button. So there's a lot of little things you can do to save a lot of time. Again, if you keep it at zero, we want places to put tasks. I don't advocate using your inbox as a task list. We'll talk more about that a little bit. I like with Gmail and others that group conversations, a thing I call auto-resurrection. If you can trust the person you're sending it to. An example of this would be if Allie sent me a PDF and said, hey, put this on our contact page. And I said, wait, that doesn't go there. Allie, do you mean our about page? I can send it back, archive it, it all goes away, and she replies back and says, oh yes, our about page. Well, the PDF came back, it's the whole thread's there. So you have to keep things hanging out too much. You can keep things clean and just ready to deal with when they come in.
Hey, Mickey,
Yes.
can I just make a comment?
Yeah.
Shameless plug, not for me. The Getting Things Done book, I think you and I talked about OmniFocus. You guys haven't checked it out, because it has a great way of managing your emails as well.
I think it's Mac only.
Is OmniFocus Mac only?
It was at least, yeah, I don't know if it still is, but
Okay, well,
You're right that
if
it's
you
great,
have Mac,
but I think
check out
it's Mac.
OmniFocus, because you can forward your emails right to your OmniFocus, which then sorts over.
gotcha,
your
okay,
output.
cool. I didn't know it did all that. That's
Fantastic.
very nice. Let's see, I don't use a lot of folders and labels. Certainly there's good reasons to, but the idea of getting your inbox empty is to take, I think Merlin Mann calls it create dead husks. Whatever email you get, mine the data out of it, and you don't really need the email anymore. I usually archive it just in case, but theoretically you shouldn't have to go back to all your folders and files. You've taken the task out of it, or put the event on your calendar, replied, or whatever you did. So don't waste your time then trying to figure out where to sort it. Is this under website or under clients, or just archive it and move on. Again, there's reasons, you may have counters to some of this, and that's fine. And then to sort of go against all this, Ashley got me going in Google Inbox again. There are other tools for pulling your Gmail stuff, and I've been using that again for a couple weeks now, starting to like it. Just sort of a whole different approach to email, but it's still just using your same Gmail, so you can sort of go back and forth. But inbox.google.com, it's weird, but it's kind of cool. It's brilliant on mobile. It's not as brilliant on desktop, but it's kind of fun. So a lot of stuff with email there. Teamwork.com is a good task management system. I convinced Aaron to use it, and we left. So it's similar if you're familiar with Basecamp. This is like Basecamp, but actually good. I don't like Basecamp at all. It's missing some simple features they should have. If you're that sort of mindset, though, Teamwork is phenomenal.
Why did you stop using it?
We'll talk about that in a bit. We will.
That's why I'm calling you a liar.
I know, yeah, we did some stuff. So early last year, we switched from Asana over to Teamwork. And so you can read our post there about why we did that and the reasons it worked better for us. But really, it was they have a lot of power features we weren't using, Gantt charts and all this that didn't hurt anything, but we weren't using it. But then just the basic, just get a task in there was so cumbersome. So we switched back to Asana in October, and we'll talk about that in a bit. However, it's worth noting they emailed me the other day, Brad Iroff, who's not ever here anymore, but he tweeted asking about Teamwork and whether we still used it and copied Teamwork on it. They saw the tweet, read the blog post, and they've reached out to say they promised they're working on some of our issues with the interface. They're going to be revamping it completely soon, whatever that's worth. So that could be interesting. Before we left, we had heard there may be a new interface in the works, and they said it's going to be a while, so that's why we made the switch. But maybe it's coming sooner. We'll talk about some of the specifics. But it's a great way just to organize tasks and projects and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you can read more with that link there. Related to that, they have a product called Teamwork Desk, kind of a help desk solution, kind of like Zendesk or Freshdesk or some of those. We left Teamwork, we've been using that for a while. Our philosophy is we don't want clients to have to log into a system to have a password and figure out how to submit a ticket and all that garbage. They don't want to. They want to email us. So we set up a special email address for each person that goes into Teamwork Desk. So like if Kathy Druin was a client, I would say, Kathy, email sweetttea@greenmillmedia.com if you need something. Go on your desk and then filter out to whichever one of us needed. It works very well. And really, after we left Teamwork, they said, well, why are we still using Teamwork Desk? We're not using Teamwork. And I looked around and for what we do, it's still the best one out there for it. Zendesk and Freshdesk and others are certainly very good. Just didn't quite siphon emails into inboxes like that the way we wanted. And I believe Teamwork Desk is still free. I think it's free for like 150 tickets a month, and then it's like 5 cents a ticket after that. It's just, for companies most of our sizes, it's free or almost nothing. So it's pretty awesome. So that's worth checking out. Their site is teamwork.com/desk. So look at that. Anybody else use any ticketing solutions that work with clients? Or Aaron, you haven't logged into Teamwork, yes?
We use Teamwork. Zendesk is too complex to me. I mean, it's over the load for what we do.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was with that too.
Yeah, we're pretty big too compared to to a lot of agencies, and we're still free bird.
Gotcha. Cool.
We use the WP Support Plus if you have a smaller ticket load.
Does that feed just into your site, or do you set it as a separate site?
It's a plugin that you work within your site. So
Just within your existing site. Gotcha. Cool. WP Support Plus.
WP
All right.
Support Plus is like $39.
Okay. Cool.
And Help Scout, I think it's the one.
Okay.
Something very similar.
Gotcha. It's a third-party thing, or is it a plugin you load?
It's a third party thing.
Okay. Help Scout was that. All right.
Yeah, I think it ties in. It works a lot like Zendesk without the one.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. And that's kind of where Teamwork Desk is. It's a pretty streamlined way to go. I just like the way I can set up custom email addresses for each client, and we can keep track of how many times they emailed each month, and say if it's this client, it needs to go straight to Susanna. And, we can set up things different ways for different folks. So it's kind of cool. Asana. So we just talked about we switched from Asana to Teamwork and back to Asana. And so you can read GMM.2 back to Asana if you want to read more about that. Really, we could do a whole meetup about Asana if that was ever enough interest in that. Because learning the ins and outs of it is kind of fun for some of us, and it's interesting to go into. Our use of Asana is basically everything we're doing goes in there, but it's all temporary. We don't it's not a storage bin either. It's just, what are we doing now? What do we need to work on? We finish a project, we archive it. It's never go back in there and find this old thing, even though you can. What partly got us back is in October, they had a huge upgrade and fixed some of our issues from before. It really works pretty well. 2 things they added that were neat. One was new conversations. If you are in a project talking, you can have conversations about a project or a task, and inside of there, you can create a new task right inside of there, which is kind of neat. So you can be talking about Kathy's website, and say, well, who's going to take care of that? You should go call her next week. And so right there, you hit a little plus button, say, call Kathy next week, date for next week, just right in line, and it automatically shows up in the task list and does some neat things there. The main reason we liked Asana over Teamwork was how easy it is to add a task. In Teamwork, to add a task, you have to add your task. That has to be inside of a task list, which has to be inside of a project, which has to be inside of a client. Which once you have everything set up, it's not too bad, but for one-off stuff and quick stuff, that's a pain. So we ended up kind of doing little other buckets and just kind of putting stuff there. It's not great. Just kind of cumbersome for that. With Asana, you just create a task and assign someone, date it, and go. Add it to a project if you want. It makes it a lot easier there. Their mobile apps are better. Teamworks is fine. Asana's is much better. We don't really use either one that much, to be honest. At least I don't, but it's pretty good. Other ones people have talked about for task stuff. Did Emery here? I think I saw Emery. He had one called Freed Camp. It looked kind of cool. I'd never heard of it before, but F-R-E-E-D Camp for tasks. And it looks like it has CRM built in. It looked interesting. I've read about it a bit. I was hoping he'd tell us more. Chris, of course, mentioned OmniFocus. That kind of fits in here. That would be instead of Asana or whatever. Lynn Bryan.
Although OmniFocus is more solo. It doesn't work for teams.
Gotcha. Okay. Good to know.
If you're by yourself and you're trying to organize yourself,
Gotcha. Cool. Good to know. Noseby, I think Carl still uses Noseby. Noseby's a great product they've continued to develop. A little simpler than any of these, but still powerful enough and good mobile apps and all that kind of stuff. So that's your start there with tasks. So the next section, files and notes. We'll dig into some of our stuff here. Our big challenge this year we sort of tasked ourselves with getting everything in one place. We used Google Docs for a while, so we had spreadsheets and documents for clients and presentations. And we had Dropbox that had all their files and pictures and stuff. And we had Evernote where we had some notes and credentials and whatever chaos ended up in there. It was kind of a mess. So now it's all in Google Drive. And we'll talk through that in a minute, why we got to there over some of the others. And our big philosophy there is just, don't save any files locally, even if you're just a one-person shop. Any of our computers could crash like right now. How dead would you be if your computer crashed? And it's degrees of not very to holy cow. And even then, Carbonite and those are good. I certainly don't have a problem with those. The issue there is if you delete something bad, it can be a little cumbersome to try to go back and get it, whereas Dropbox and Drive is just simple. So yeah. And then in this case, because I use Drive and Dropbox and stuff so much, and most of this is web-based, if my computer does go down, my hard drive crashed at home 18 months ago, it's not a big deal. I get a new hard drive in, I sync those up, and I'm pretty much up and going. I have a couple programs, but not a whole lot beyond that. Certainly a different story for Allie and some of them that have Creative Suite and all that, but depending on what you use, you make it relatively pain-free to switch computers or recover from a crash. Some specific tools we'll go through. So Dropbox, I'm guessing you all have heard of Dropbox, and probably all of you use Dropbox. We're going to continue to use it to some degree. Certainly you can't escape it. A lot of clients use it, and that's perfectly fine. We've moved our 250 gigs of green melon stuff over to Google Drive. Again, just to get everything in one place. Dropbox has a new product called Paper, which is kind of their Google Docs real-time collaboration thing, which is kind of cool. The shortcoming for us is there's no spreadsheet equivalent, no presentation equivalent, and they keep it separate. We say, like, here's Natalie's documents she sent us, and then here's the paper docs we're working on for her. I want it in one place. So I expect we'll fix that eventually. That was kind of why we couldn't use them for everything. We still needed Google Docs. Last time I spoke, I think I talked, we were strongly considering going to Box.com, which again is great. But they had a couple of shortcomings similar to Dropbox. In general, that's like Dropbox. If you're not familiar with them, I mean, it's the same concept. They have something called Box Notes. That is like their paper. That's their real-time collaboration thing. But again, no spreadsheets or anything. The other downside to their Box Notes is with Google Drive, if you sync it to your computer, you can see the Google Docs on your hard drive. They're not actually there, but you can click them and it opens the browser. With Box Notes, they don't. And like Allie in particular uses Finder a lot on her Mac just to see everything, all the files and stuff. Those Box Notes wouldn't show up in there. You have to go online to see those. And so with Google Drive, she can just look in Finder, see the document, click it, and it opens in the browser and loads. So that was kind of the shortcoming there that killed us. And then of course Google Drive is where we ended up. Everything's all in one place for us. You moved a lot of our Evernote notes over. We'll talk more about that in a bit. One neat thing I found after the fact, we were able to downgrade a bunch of accounts, is unlike Dropbox, if I share a 10 gig file with each of you, it counts against all of your storage limits. With Google Drive, I share a file with you, it counts against mine, but not against any of yours. So you can have hundreds of gigs in there inside a 10 gig account because most of them are owned by me. And so that worked out well. I was the one that moved everything over, so we upgraded my account for $10 a month or whatever it is, and everyone else is fine because they technically don't have that much in there, even though they have 250 gigs worth of stuff. So that was a neat little plus. The one big downside that made us hesitate for a while, and we eventually got around it, was in Dropbox, because 250 gigs is a lot. This poor little laptop doesn't have that much empty. So you have to selective sync. If you use Dropbox, you can go and say, don't sync that folder or that one. You can go in and choose what you want. Google Drive has that, but only for root level folders. So in our case, in Dropbox, we have green melon, and inside there's clients and all this. It's green melon on or green melon off, and that wouldn't work for us. So we went through and made like 8 root level folders for ourselves. New clients, old clients, documents, presentations, different things. That way we could, on my computer, could sync the things I need. Other computers could sync different stuff. It was kind of like this, where we had client active, archive, leads, design resources, tech resources, stuff we still need to organize. Our main green melon stuff, and then other clients there. So those are all in the root. So it makes it a little messy, but then I can go and say, okay, I don't need that, or that to save me space here. And Allie can say, well, I need that, and that. And so we can sync what we need there. Then the way it's ended up, like inside of a client folder now is beautiful. We can have a copy of the contract, we can have files for inspiration, we can have documents with other stuff in there, whether it's a Google Doc or a file or whatever, it's all together, which is what we want. We don't have their Dropboxes here, and their documents are here, and their Evernotes are here. It's just all in one place. That's beautiful. Another one I like to use more, Google Keep. I talked about this in here a couple of years ago. It's Google's quick note-taking program. They finally have an iPhone version that came out, I don't know, a few months ago. It took longer than I would have expected, but made just for super quick notes during the day. I certainly use pad and paper and stuff, but at the end of the day, I try to get my pad cleared so it's on there, because I go from a laptop to a desktop to a phone. I want to make sure my stuff's wherever I am. Allie and them use Wunderlist, I think, for that kind of no.
Yeah, I still use my digital.
Okay. Yeah, Asana's helped get rid of that to some degree, because we use these a lot more with teamwork because it was so cumbersome to do stuff. We've kind of scaled back on these, but this is where if I think of something right after the meetup, say, ooh, I gotta make sure to call someone, so I'll drop it in Google Keep, knowing when I go back to the office, I'll see it there, and then I can add it to Asana or give them a call or whatever I need to do.
We use reminders on our iPhone.
Okay, there you go. So more reminders there. Yeah. So there's different ways to do that. Reminders on iPhone. Either way, something that just syncs across. And again, that's a good case where an iPhone app is certainly appropriate because we don't need to share those with each other. You know, Allie is all Apple stuff everywhere, so it syncs around and works well. Google Keep, being a Google product, works a little better with Google stuff, but works well enough on Apple devices and iPhones and stuff. And then it does cool things like I posted this a while ago. I can have a shopping list show up on my watch so I can shop and just have one hand on the cart and do that. I mean, it has neat little things, add stuff to it with your voice, not unlike some of the Apple Watch stuff. I'm sure you can add to your Apple Notes kind of similarly. So it's kind of fun. So who this leaves out now with our new system is Evernote. And if you've been to this meetup more than a few times, you've probably heard me talk about it. I've loved Evernote for years and years and years and years, and I don't love them as much as time goes on. For a few reasons. Their syncing is just too slow compared to other stuff. I mean, they've made it faster, but I can't see them ever making it real time, whereas Google Keep is real time, Drive is real time, everything I update and it's synced. And that you gotta make sure you hit the sync button, it syncs here, and then it syncs over here. It's just getting cumbersome there. Really in terms of cumbersome, it is harder, not hard, but hard to go in there and make a note and give it a title and save it and stuff just for a quick note, whereas Keep or Apple Notes, you just drop it in and be done. So it's kind of just falling in a middle ground that we don't need anymore. We have our permanent stuff in Drive and our super quick stuff in Keep and Apple Notes. Not really a place for it. I worry a bit as a company too. They keep losing executives and people keep bailing. And they're not going anywhere. They're big enough, but I'm nervous for them, and it's a shame. I've loved them for a long time, but they're leaving my life. So whatever that's worth for you. Yeah.
I was just going to say that one of the things that's really quite beneficial is the web clipper function on Evernote.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, web clipper's nice. Yes.
No one else really has it.
Okay. Yeah. And I think in the next one we're going to talk about is OneNote. I think OneNote does. Yeah.
So how did you extract everything if you had Evernote into?
I'm still working slowly, manually. Because this needs to go here, because it was just chaos of notes and stuff about clients, and all of a sudden saying, this goes with this client, let's put it in a new doc and Drive here. And this one, I don't really need anymore because it's so old. This is a business card we can put in, we'll talk about what I do for that. And it's still in progress. So as I look things up in there, like, ooh, that's still never know. I'll look at it, see what I need, and then go ahead and make the move then. And then when I have free time, I kind of knock a few out. But I'm sure there's automated ways, but I want to make sure everything went in the right place and get it, not just dump it somewhere else and have another bit. So. We looked hard at Microsoft OneNote to replace some of this stuff, because OneNote and then their OneDrive product is kind of a Dropbox. It's really quite awesome. I was very impressed. I even looked in the Mac App Store. OneNote in the Mac App Store has thousands of reviews and it's a solid 5 stars. I mean, they love it for a Microsoft product, which blew me away. So we looked at it. It's really quite good, but just again, we made the decision to use some of the other ones that didn't quite fit for us. The one piece I do use, I'm actually using it a tiny bit for scanning in stuff, scanning business cards and stuff. They have a thing called Office Lens. They'll scan right into it. It's just a great little mobile scanner. Pop it up, scan it, automatically sees what you can do it sideways and it'll see where the card is and grab it. And it was the one that actually could read Diana's business card. She has her text sideways. And not that it's a big deal, but no other scanner could understand the text. And it's like, oh yeah, I can see that sideways. And it was kind of cool.
I mean, that's the big advantage of Evernote. So why didn't you use Evernote for that?
I could have, but Evernote didn't do the crop. Mostly I wanted to get a good, clean picture. Was my main concern. Evernote, I don't think still crops. Does it auto crop to the card?
I could take a picture of a whiteboard and it would just
okay.
The whiteboard. If it's a business card, it would actually pop it into your contact.
Yeah, I've seen that. I don't want it popping anywhere, but I know it does something. So I could have stayed there for that. Yeah. But again, I'm mostly trying to take it and not even keep it in there. It's the easier scanner for me. I don't want to keep it in there. I'll show you what I do with the card in a bit. But yeah. Evernote still has some cool stuff for that. Let's see. Yeah, we'll talk about what I do with cards when we get to it. And then, if we're talking about files and stuff, it's worth mentioning one physical file thing. We talked about Merlin Mann. He had a company, I'm not sure, called 43 Folders. Now, I just set up at home, and it's brilliant for date-based stuff. So I have a link there, DMM2, 43 of my folders. The concept is you have literally 43 folders in a drawer. 12 months of the year, 31 days of the month. You kind of put them in order of what's going on, and just for concert tickets and plane tickets, all that stuff where did I put that? I know where it is because it goes into the February 8th bucket there. It's brilliant for that kind of stuff. I don't want to get into your other folders because certainly you can all arrange that stuff however you want by client name or whatever. But I thought that was a neat thing. You can read the link there to see more. But I don't use it a lot at home, but it's very nice just to know that, yes, when my daughter's recital comes up in 2 weeks, I already know exactly where the tickets are for sure. It's not, was it a nightstand or wherever, it's just, in the right day there. It's an ingenious little system. So next, communication. Most of ours really is through email and Asana that we've already talked about. There's 2 other big ones we use. That's all I'm going to hit here, but certainly let me know if you have others that you want to look at. First one we talked about a little bit was Slack. We have it for the All Things WordPress group that people don't use too much. We have it for the Atlanta WordCamp organizers. We use that a little bit more. Then we have it internally for Greenmail Media. We use it a ton, just for 5 of us. If you do try out Slack, I encourage you, especially with your team or whatever, to give it some time. It was one of those that I couldn't understand why we needed it, but I kept seeing so many blog posts saying it was amazing. I had to try it. So we forced ourselves to try it. It was weird for a week or two, and after about 2 weeks, we're like, it clicked. And like, this is awesome. This is great. How did we live without this? So again, it's really just kind of instant messenger, Slack, text messaging, all kind of munched into one. You get different channels for topics for people to talk about. So for example, on ours, this is from our Slack. We have things, we talk about Asana with issues we have there. We talk a little bit about clients, although most of that goes into Asana. Education for ourselves, like you guys should read this blog post or that. General stuff, we talk about the adult coloring books that Susanna's big into lately, yes. So a couple private ones, we want to talk about our stuff, inspiration for visual stuff. Lunch is a big one, usually the evening before, we're all on there figuring out if we're going out or if we need to bring our lunches. It's a good way to kind of organize that. Talking about the meetup, things we want to do there. We have a couple of plugins we've developed, so Ashley and I can share thoughts on that. Internal office quote stuff, random. The girls use recipes a ton to share recipes going on. Our social, you can have a lot of things hooked into Slack, so anything Susanna posts on Facebook comes into Slack, so none of the rest of us miss it, which is kind of nice. And then WordPress, there's other WordPressy stuff. So that's how we've used it. We're massaging the channel list all the time, but for 5 of us, we use that, and they're all hopping. We use that a lot for internal communication, and it's pretty awesome. For super quick comments, though, we still use Google Hangouts a good bit. Again, being platform agnostic, it works easily with everyone. It's, for those that haven't used it, it's like iMessage and FaceTime, but in a single app. The first 4 years of Greenmail existed there before we had an office, really. Allie and I probably had that open like 3 hours a day, just video chatting, working from our houses. We still use it a decent amount for just internal quick messages. Come to my desk for a sec, I need you, little things like that. Works pretty well. Other communication kind of stuff I've missed that you guys like to use? Nothing? Skype, yeah. You have Skype. We have another called Zoom, I guess I could put in. It's another video one. Join me. Okay, yeah, for screen sharing kind of stuff. Cool. Yeah, that's the one downside to Hangouts with clients. It can be a little tricky sometimes getting connected. And Join Me and Zoom and some of those are easier to say, hey, client, go here. And Hangouts has made that better lately, but still can be a little weird sometimes. Early on, it was very weird. They had a Google Plus account. You had to add each other's circles and all that stuff.
We use Screen Hero.
Screen Hero? Okay. Is that for real time or is that for like screencasting?
For real time. So
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Screen Hero to take over someone else's machine. Cool.
Yeah, Slack bought them. So.
Okay. Oh yeah, I think
So
it did.
they're
Yeah.
supposed to do integrations.
Okay.
They said that a year ago.
Skype integrates with Slack now too.
Yeah, a lot of Suzanne said Skype integrates with Slack. Lots of things integrate with Slack, and it's pretty slick the way they tie in there.
Skype is trying really hard to save their brand.
Yeah, Skype. Yeah, there's tons of competition from the 10 tools we all just mentioned. So yeah. Struggling Jim.
Can you share screen with Hangouts?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, but you can't control the mouse.
Correct. You can't take over. You can just share yours. Yeah.
Kind of a hobbyist program that I use in Discord.
Discord.
Okay. It's a voice over IP, kind of like a TeamSpeak or virtual.
Okay.
It's a real-time chat function.
All right.
And it's free.
All right. Cool. And what do you use that with? With just collaboration, or do you use it with clients, or?
That's mostly like hobbies. That's like gaming. But
Okay.
You could definitely use it for other applications.
Gotcha. Cool. Discord is that one, yeah. Checking out there. So that's communication. We'll hit the next section here. Education and reading. If you've been around as much, one of our core values at Greenmount is education. For our clients, we train all our clients in everything we do. For other people, it's meet up and learning from each other. And for ourselves. This section is mostly for how we educate ourselves and stay up to date with what's going on. A few tools in here that I've probably talked about before, but Feedly, for me at least, is my big one. Allie and them have it and open it once a quarter when they remember to. I kind of live in Feedly every day for a decent amount of time. I looked and I have 534 blogs right now that feed into it. Some are probably dead, they're blogs that haven't updated in years. That's why you have it. So if they happen to update again, you get it. You have to go check every day for what's going on. For those who aren't familiar with Feedly, basically you say, I want every update from this blog to come in here into a list, and from that blog, and from that blog. And they all just kind of come in, and you kind of go through and see all the posts from all the different blogs you want to follow, all in one place. This is, of course, a lot of WordPress stuff and SEO stuff. Most of our client blogs I put in there, so I can see what our clients are up to. A lot of your blogs I follow to see what you guys are up to, competition, other folks. My kids' teachers at school, they all have to blog, and so I have those come in there so I can see what's going on with those, even the forest director and all that. So it's just a good place to get all that stuff coming into one place and save you from having to go out lots of other places. And it has a nice feature. I usually tend to kind of burn through it, say, read a little bit, and then decide I'd mark it, read later, when I have a chance, and kind of working through, and I can kind of see what's saved. And then usually try to fall that down as much as I can. It's getting a little out of control lately. But if I want to save it longer, I throw it into a program called Pocket. How many of you have heard of Pocket? So it's just a good place to save content. I think they do have a web clipper, that kind of thing. I don't use it for that angle too often, but it's pretty much things I want to read later and haven't gotten to. You can put them in Pocket. Again, get them out of your other inboxes in somewhere. And that one I don't clear out ever. I've never quite gotten to it, but stuff I want to see. A lot of Whiteboard Fridays from Moz and different things in there. But not only does it save easy, have good mobile apps, but on blogs it really cleans it up. It doesn't just take you back to the whole blog with the ads. It just shows you the content. You can just read the nice clean blog post without all the muck around, and then share out from there and stuff. So getpocket.com. Feedly was feedly.com. This is getpocket.com. Both those are free. I think Feedly has a premium version. It's like $5 a month or something. I don't know if Pocket does or not, but it's kind of cool. And then the other one for education is Kindle. Certainly lots of different ways to read books. I like to read books on my Kindle for the highlighting feature, and then for the fact that you can go back later and see all your highlights online. I've done that a few times where I read a good book about SEO or something. That's a good tip. Ooh, I haven't thought about that. I'll highlight stuff in there and then come back later and kind of work through what did I highlight and how do I want to integrate that from all the books you read. So you can go to kindle.amazon.com and see highlights. And I believe there you can also look at a book and see what has been popular highlights from other folks. So almost a way to sort of skim a technical kind of book. Wouldn't work good for a real book. But for that kind of stuff, it could work well there. So kindle.amazon.com for your highlights. Anything else you guys like to use to keep yourselves sharp, to read news, to follow stuff? There's certainly a lot of little ones I use, Flipboard and stuff.
I was using Newswire
Okay.
for a long time, and they went through revision, what I guess it was right OS 10.
Okay.
And just something happened.
Is that an RSS reader? Or?
I'm sorry?
Is that an RSS reader?
RSS reader.
Okay, so NetNewsWire. But you don't like it as well anymore?
Not as much.
Okay.
Ever since that problem with the newest OS, they just never
Gotcha.
got it back up and running.
Yeah, Google Reader is the one I used for years, and I was so sad when they shut it down. And Feedly, when it first came out, not first out, when I first started after Google Reader, it was kind of rough, but they ironed it out pretty well now. Yeah.
Also, you can set up Google Alerts, basically.
Yeah, that's a good thought. Yeah, Google Alerts if you want to track things. Google Alerts kind of made me mad too. That used to be if you set up a Google Alert, what that is saying, hey, if someone ever says Mickey Mellon on the web, there's a new post, email me about it, so you know what's going on. Used to be you could have those to an RSS feed and pull them into Feedly. And they've cut that off now, so you have to get emails. But still, you should probably set up a few for yourself, for your brand name, for things there. You really want to know if you're mentioned somewhere, good or bad, so you can respond appropriately to that. So yeah, I think it's just google.com/alerts. Set that up, free service for them. Our next section, social media. I'm not going to spend too long here because there's a zillion tools we could all use for that, and we've done whole meetups on that before. We probably will again. Just two I want to point out that we use quite a bit. Hootsuite. I think a lot of you probably use Hootsuite. Just a good way to one, to pull in different social media releases in one place, but in our case, to kind of push out to multiple places in one shot. Susanna spends a good bit of time in Hootsuite on behalf of us and some of our clients and stuff, and it works very well.
Ranking stuff, you use Hootsuite to push out.
It can hurt a little bit on Facebook, I've heard, and it goes back and forth, yeah. Facebook in general, if you go onto Facebook.com and post something directly there, usually it'll help you a little bit better get seen by more folks. But
as a rule, it doesn't.
As a rule, it does, but I think it does a little tiny bit.
I don't think it's significant.
Right.
Well, because I heard that at one of the meetups, and I just kind of said, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. So it's a matter. Yeah, it depends what you have going.
It doesn't really.
Yeah, for my stuff, I usually go and often post it directly because I have time to do that. But if Susanna's helping manage all these, she doesn't have time to do all that. So you got to balance time and effort versus That
Right now, you're not getting it on Facebook unless you get it.
Yeah, there's that too. Yeah, you're not. Yeah, your page doesn't show up anywhere without a little cash coming in.
And
the other one I
even
like to
with
use-
money, it's.
What's that?
I said even with money, if
Well,
you
yeah.
pay to boost things, they boost them, not necessarily.
Yeah, you have to be careful. Well, I put Georgia in and they boosted it to Russia. So, I mean, it's like, so now I have all these links.
Right, you have to, people who are following your page who aren't necessarily your audience.
Right. April. Oh, okay. I didn't know. The other one I wanted to mention was Buffer. I've used it for years. This is more for me personally than for as a team, and we have more applause from Renee in the back there. So what's neat with Buffer, again, it has the downsides, where it's automatically publishing for you. But you set up time slots through days. I want to publish stuff at 1:30, 4:30, 6:30, and 10:30, or whatever you want it to do. And you can push stuff to it, and it'll hold on to it and spread it out over those time frames. I don't use it as much as I should, but in theory, I'm going through Feedly. Okay, I go to Feedly, I have 200 new blog posts, and I say, ooh, that one looks good. I'll share that, throw that to Buffer. Ooh, that one looks good, share that to Buffer. I can share 5 things right in a row, but then it'll spread them out, so they don't all just go tweet, kind of spreads out. It's kind of nice. I almost always do it just for my personal one, but I have the Green Melon channels in here too. So I can go to Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn, all in one shot there. So it's kind of nice. I don't know, their free version, I think you get like 2 channels, and I pay like $6.99 a month or something to have more.
The big thing about Buffer is that it'll analyze your activity and give you time slots that your stuff is most likely to see.
Yeah, it's good.
Hootsuite will do that too.
Yeah, Hootsuite and Buffer, I don't know if you've heard what she said, but yeah, they'll look at when you send stuff out, what times of day are most successful, and you can say, hey, publish this at the best time, not necessarily at 8 o'clock, but somewhere this morning, whenever it's best. And from your history, they'll know when that best time is and can help you out with that.
No matter what, sign up for the Buffer newsletter because it's great.
Yeah, the Buffer newsletter has lots of good stuff in it. A lot of these companies, if you don't use them, they put out great content.
This may back us up a little bit, but I see the Google Plus.
Okay, yep.
Still using it? Is there any life in it, or is it?
There's some. I've heard it compared to Usenet. For those of you back in the day, it's a lot of geeks and communities and that kind of stuff. My wife's never going to get on there, and that's okay. It's still a lot of life there, but it's kind of different than they wanted it to be, I guess. The other advantage too is in terms of raw SEO, links on Google Plus count. They have to be followed, whereas links on Twitter and Facebook don't count. So we usually, for most of our clients, we have a Google Plus page. We publish their stuff on it, but we don't really worry about it too much. And with the integration with Google Local, depending what your business is, it's all kind of one. It's not going to. Yeah, my family's never going to be on there. That's just kind of where they are now. It's sad because it's still the best one functionally for most clients, depending on the situation. Other thoughts? All right, next up, development. And again, this could be multiple meetups all in of itself with plugins and all that. So we're not going to talk plugins, more just some of the tools we use each day to get things done. FileZilla is our big one. I think any of you that deal with transferring files to your web server and stuff, FileZilla is by far the most popular. Lots of great other options out there to use, but FileZilla-project.org for if you ever heard of FTP and need FTP files up and down your site, works great for that. Could do some neat little tricks, like in our case we have all of our clients in FileZilla so we can quickly get to them, but it's a local desktop app. It's one of the few desktop apps I have. You can actually share the config file through Dropbox or Google Drive. So we've done that where our config file lives out shared, and then Ashley and Susanna and I all share the same config file. So if one of us adds a client to it, hey, we all magically have it on ours. So it's a little tricky to do, but if you Google that, you can see that. The one downside, and I hate they still do this, but be careful when you install it, because it likes to install the Yahoo toolbar and stupid crap like that they shouldn't be doing anymore, but they are. So, yeah.
How do you do your updates on FileZilla when you store it in your project?
The software updates for FileZilla itself, I don't. I just decline it. It works well enough for me, yeah.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, every now and then, we've done it before and it wipes out the config file, we've had to redo it. If it's not broke, if we need to upgrade it someday for a new version of Windows or iOS or whatever, we can, but not iOS, but OS X.
And Mickey,
Yeah.
they really need to use that URL because there are a lot of malware infected files that are
Yeah, good thought, yeah.
downloads out there because it's so popular. People do a Google search and the first one they find is they download.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, Sydney. Make sure you use FileZilla-project.org for the official one, because other ones will look like it, maybe act like it has malware. It comes with The stuff it tries to get you down isn't malware, it's just stupidware. I don't even know what you call it. Yeah, you know, watch out for that. But there are ones that have legitimate malware that you can install if you're not careful, so a good call there. One we use a lot is called CodeAnywhere for editing stuff online. Again, our philosophy is mostly different from a lot of developers. We're not as heavy in development as Aaron and his shop and some of those. We have development servers online, and we go online and edit stuff there through CodeAnywhere. So that way, Ashley doesn't have to say, oh, Mickey, you need to push yours back up, and we don't have any of that chaos. The one on the development server online is there, and I can get to it from this laptop or my desktop or my phone or wherever I need to get to edit the files. It's beautiful. In this case, we share a login for it. They have multi-user support coming, but right now, Ashley and I, pretty much the only two in it, we share the same login, so we have all the same list of clients in there. We can go in and edit files. It works pretty well. It has revision control, has a lot of good tools built in. They keep enhancing the interface to work better, more like some of the professional development environments. But again, depending on your philosophy of how you want to work, if you can't go work on your WordPress site, some people like to have it local on your machine so you can work on it there, and that's great. In our case, we do it there, but if I'm not online, I'm toast. So again, I try to make sure I'm always online. If I'm not, then I'll just do something else instead. There's certainly other great development tools. PhpStorm, I believe, Aaron, that's your ID choice. Why is that?
Because I like bloat. No, just kidding. It has a lot of built-in tools that just makes it easier to find things, and it has WordPress integration. So, I'm starting to type in the WordPress function, it does autofill, for me.
Gotcha.
So just makes it quicker.
Yeah, cool. And it's not free. Did you have a free version?
It's $99 a year.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say it's not
Free trial.
free trial. Yeah, there you go. And CodeAnywhere, I think it's $10 a month or something. I don't remember. I think they may have a free version. I don't recall for sure. Others that were mentioned, Clinton. I see Clinton Fisher. I don't know if you showed it. He uses V still, an old text editor. Rose, thank you, on Dreamweaver, which I use Dreamweaver for years. It's
She's right there.
kind of for local. Yeah, I miss some of the functions that it had, just the way it handled check-in and check-out. So what else do you guys use for development tools? Anything noteworthy?
Yeah.
Yeah, VI. It's pronounced VI. I'm not sure. Yeah, that's what Clinton said there. Cool. Yeah. So CodeAnywhere is the one we like, but yeah, JetBrains.com/PhpStorm for that, for working on stuff locally and then pushing it up when you need to. And then my favorite thing lately is ManageWP, which has been around forever, and I've always brushed it off as being expensive and not that much better than the other stuff. They have a new product called Orion now, which is beautiful. I love it so much. I can't express how much I love Orion. ManageWP is for managing multiple websites in theory. You can buy a license to manage one website for like $3 a month or whatever. We have like 131 sites in there, all in one place. There are a lot of tools similar to that to manage things. We used Infinite WP for a while, which I think Carl and Kathy might still be both using, and other folks. Very similar, Infinite WP. Pricing model was better. I like theirs better. You paid a decent amount, some hundreds of dollars up front for all the extensions you need. Then you load it on your server, and it's yours. No more payments ever. ManageWP is on their server, so we pay them. It scales up. So we have 131 sites. We pay like $125 a month or something for it. It's certainly reasonable. The best thing I like about it is the way it does backups. In our case, and other stats have proven this, if you run a backup on your site, 80% of sites will work fine, 20% are going to have issues, and that's about what we saw. And so poor Susanna was, every weekend, go through like 15, 20 sites to make sure they're backed up, and go get another separate backup and push it to Amazon just to make sure. Backups are important to us, for our clients. It was a pain in the butt. ManageWP Orion, the way they do it, it's 100% every time. It's amazing. They do it differently. Most backup solutions, like the current version of Backup Buddy, WP Remote, Infinite WP, kind of go to a server and say, give me a backup, go. And they go, try to get it all, and then the server may time out, it may not handle it, they only have 60 seconds to get it all, whatever, set up. ManageWP takes it slower. I'm not sure how their stuff works behind it, but it kind of takes it half hour or so and kind of meanders through and gets everything, and the server doesn't care, doesn't create a load, it works beautifully. Backup Buddy, though, announced yesterday they have a new thing coming out called Stash Live. Their backup thing is called Stash. It sounds, I don't know the details, it sounds very similar though, so it sounds like they may have conquered that issue. And then really, if you want just backups though, as Diana will attest to, CodeGuard may be your best bet. CodeGuard's a little more expensive if you have a lot of sites, but it's a fully off-site solution that uses, I believe, FTP and stuff to grab your files. The big advantage there is with Backup Buddy or Orion or whatever you have, if your site crashes and is just toast, you have a backup, so you're safe. But you need to figure out how to get it restored, because you can't hit the restore button because your site's dead. It can't talk to your site. CodeGuard, since it does it differently, can just push stuff back on top of your site for you. So for just backups is great, but I like ManageWP because we can handle taking files and restoring them, and because it also does WordPress updates and security scans and plugin updates and client reporting, all kinds of other beautiful stuff. Aaron?
CodeGuard also has a free thing where
I forgot about that, yes.
You get a free backup and you'll only have to pay if you need to do a restore.
Yeah, I think they do a daily backup for free for you, completely free. If you say, oh, I'm crashed, I need to restore, it's like $20 then, you click and they'll restore it for you. So that's kind of a simple one. If you're not sure what you want to use, sign up for that and at least have that going on the side. Yeah, just let it do its thing. So that's ManageWP and why we like that so much. I'm a little concerned. They still have their main ManageWP that you sign into. You can choose to go over to Orion, because Orion doesn't have all the features yet. They're slowly migrating features in. And they say in February it'll be done, and that'll be their new one, and they'll announce their new pricing model, which has got me a little nervous. They've referenced other things like VaultPress from Automatic folks. That's like $15 a month. They said, don't worry, it's going to be less than $15 a month. And that's great. So if it was $15 a month, we'd be out like, $1,600. We're not doing that. So I'm hoping it's still way down, but I'm a little concerned where the pricing will fall, but confident that they'll be okay, especially now that Backup Buddy has a similar well-written backup solution. I think it'll get the competition will help keep the price there. But loving Orion, it's a good one to look at. And again, they do have good pricing even just for one site or 2 or 3 or whatever you want to do, up to way more than we have if you need. If you're on Backup Buddy, I'll look up Stash Live. They say it's coming soon. So they haven't really said when, but they've announced it. They're very excited and all that stuff. The other thing that may fix this, that some of you may handle different, is that we let our clients host wherever is best for them. They keep their host. We encourage them to move to better ones, like ClickHost or WP Engine or whoever. But some just, they have a GoDaddy account, it's where it is, it's all there, their email's there, don't mess with our hosting. And that's where backups tend to fail, is on lesser hosts. And that's where this really helps us out. I know, Aaron, I think you sort of insist your clients go on WP Engine, so.
Not at all.
Oh, I thought you did, okay.
No, we just kick them a little bit.
Yeah, you're a little more forceful, there we go.
Yeah.
But if you,
wherever.
Gotcha. And so that's where this helps, is because, yeah, most will be okay. ClickHost, we're not just using backups, WP Engine we don't, but other hosts we might. And they may have a decent reason for wanting to stay there. And so now this at least lets us get good backups without Suzanne having to go to FileZilla and download all the files and back up the database and all that stuff.
Jump screen.
Yeah, very good. So moving along, SEO, we'll talk about some search engine stuff. First one was Google Analytics, which we're not going to dig into. We've done multiple meetups on that. I'm sure we will again, because that's a whole topic in of itself. But we use it a ton. I hope you guys do as well. For stats, there's really no comparison. There's others out there that can do some decent stats, but it's free, it's easy, it's incredibly deep. And we'll get back to that more later. That's the kind of thing we make sure every client has that. Even if they don't think they want it, we go ahead and get it installed, get it set up, just because sure enough, 6 months later, they say, ooh, now I want my stats. What's been going on? We say, well, here's the last 6 months. That's our base, and let's go from there. So certainly use that. Raven tools for SEO stuff. Emery and I have talked about this before. We're still sticking with Raven for now. What I like about it does a lot of things with scanning your site and digging into how many pages you have and backlinks and all the SEO kind of stuff. What I like about them is it's $99 a month for unlimited sites. And so if we have even a prospect that say, hey, I want to talk to you about my website next week, I'll go ahead and throw them in here and let it scan their site so I can at least have an idea of what's going on without having to pay extra. It does good reporting and does some cool stuff. Falls a little short on keyword rankings and some things like that, but all in all, does a pretty nice job. The problem is, of course, you have one site, you want to do it for yourself, it's still $99, so it may not scale down appropriately as needed, but works well for us. Moz is kind of the industry leader in SEO stuff. Moz.com has some awesome tools. I'd say all in all, it's considerably more powerful than Raven, but limited on sites. The $99 a month package they have, you can do 5 sites. So that could work well. We've considered that and saying, okay, for us and like our biggest clients we need to worry about, let's do them on Moz. And we may, but we've gone elsewhere for now. But Moz certainly is a great place to look. They have a lot of free tools. Their Whiteboard Friday videos that Randy and them put out are phenomenal. Great blog content, like Susanna mentioned on others. And a lot of these companies, I suggest following their blog just to get their insights for free. And they have some good free tools. Related to Moz, they have a product called Moz Local. Moz.com/local for that. If you have a brick and mortar, you're a restaurant, a store, whatever, this does a good job. You put in your address and zip code and stuff. You look around and say, hey, you need to have all this stuff consistent. Their big push is NAP. Your name, address, and phone should be identical everywhere. And it'll dig in and say, you're good here, you're kind of weak here, you need to fix this, you're missing on these others. And to an extent, it'll go ahead and submit you to some of the other directories and give you links to how to go fix your Google and Facebook and kind of help you get cleaned up on that. If you have multiple locations, you have to buy it separately for each location, but it's $84 per year, so not too bad for that. It doesn't do a ton for you, but it's great just to kind of give you an overview and tell you where you need to do your work to help get that up. Yeah.
I really like Right Local.
Right Local, okay.
Right Local, they do search engine, they do track your rankings by your location, they do, site audits, they do citation tracking.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's really great.
I've not seen that one, so Right Local. All right, cool. BRIGHT?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah, they do directory submissions for you as well.
Awesome.
For a price.
How much is it, do you know?
The plan I'm on right now is for 6 accounts, and it's $39 a month, but you get you can have 6 clients that you run reports for, but you can run like 100 reports.
Gotcha, okay. Cool.
Ad hoc reports.
Very nice. And another one we like to use, I know Carl and ClickHost use a good bit, is Positionly. This is one we're considering using instead of Moz. Kind of regular we'll use just to load every client in there and have all that, but for actually tracking rankings, Positionly seems to be almost as good as Moz. I don't think it's quite there, but it's awfully close. It has some great reports and stuff. The difference is, for Moz, it's $99 a month for 5 sites. Positionally, I can pay $15 a month for 10. So it's like a 1/12 of the cost. And it's really pretty good. Seems pretty solid. They have a page, ClickHost has a page all about that, clickhost.com/positionally. Use Google Positionally to see their site. They'll write about, I think Emory might have written that page even to talk about how it works and some of the features of it. So some cool stuff there with Positionally. Certainly tons of other great search tools, but those are kind of the ones we use. Almost that stuff. Moving along next, our last category, business. Just some of the businessy tools we use as an agency. Some of these will apply to all of you, some will be more for us, but we'll kind of go through and show you what we have and how we use it and why we use it and all that. So Google Calendar, there's so many other calendar stuff out there, but that's still just so easy and so fast and so good and so pervasive. It's just the one we use still. That's actually like last week for us, and it's kind of crazy, but what's nice is I can see myself in blue and Allie in green, of course, green. And Susanna's in there, my wife's in there, my kids are in there. I can kind of layer everything up and turn off ones I don't want to see and have all that. It's nice my wife adds something on her iPhone about a new dentist appointment. It magically shows up in all my stuff. It's beautiful.
How did you get her to do that?
It's taken a while. She learned when she'd tell me about something I'd forget because it's not there, and then I'd schedule on top of it and say, it's in there. And she's gotten there. It's taken a while. ProsperWorks is a new one we're using. We talked a couple months ago, we were in the search for a new CRM, customer relationship manager, track our clients and leads and all that kind of stuff coming in. This one is very good. I won't say it's great, it's not quite perfect, but it's pretty darn good. The main thing we wanted to see really was 2 things that a lot of them didn't have was our sales process. You've seen us talk like we're working about our process, for doing things and selling. We wanted to keep track of which client was where a little bit better. It does a good job there. And then to be able to see historically what happened. Why did we lose these clients? Last year, what happened? How many did we win? How many did we lose? It does a good job with all that kind of stuff. It's between 19 and 119 a month per person. I think we're like in the middle plan. We're like 50 a month for just Allie now for 2 of us. But it works really well. I think I have, I thought I had another picture in there. Oh, that is that picture. So here's like, for example, this is a loss reasons chart I did, just saying why did we lose clients over the last couple of years? And some was features, there were apps and things we didn't do at the time we lost. There's actually one big one there that eats up a lot of that. We were a little too expensive for some, we lost competitors, we declined to take them, kind of see what's going on, do we need to address that, and does some neat things there. Related to that is where Allie thinks I get a little crazy, is I use a tool called PySync. This does basically contact syncing between accounts. And so in our case, I have it synced from my Greenmelon Google Contacts to ProsperWorks. So if I add one to either one, it shows up there. And then I have it synced from my Greenmelon Gmail to my personal Gmail. So all 3 have every client, every phone number, and everything I might need, which makes a messy phone, but means if I ever get a phone call and it says unknown, it's almost certainly literally unknown. I can pretty safely ignore it because anyone I've ever talked to, I got a business card for or whatever, it's in one of those, and they've all synced and have it all together. So it's quite beautiful for that. It works well. That's like $10 a month or something, I think, to sync. Full Contact is another good one for that sort of thing, for syncing multiple accounts together. Does a good job. But PySync, they seem to be good. They just raised some millions of dollars to do it better. So The one thing it doesn't do, I wish it would, and I don't know whose fault it is, but it doesn't sync profile picture from ProsperWorks to Google. So I'll add, Kathy's picture on her Google profile on my phone, and then we'll be ProsperWorks, but not a big problem really, certainly. Yeah, so that's PySync. Moving on, contextually, I don't use anymore, but I appreciate what it is because it's quite brilliant. It's a lot of work to set up initially, but it's another one you put all your contacts in, and it has an account, it'll hook into your Gmail and pull emails in, and you can track phone calls and stuff, but it's for making sure you follow up with people. You put people into buckets, you say, okay, Allie's a coworker, and Natalie's a friend, and Kathy's a business associate, and this one's a client, and kind of do whatever you want to do through those. And say, okay, for clients, I want to make sure I've talked to them in the last 30 days, for friends in the last 90 days, or whatever, and you'll say, okay, Chris Scholl just bubbled up. You have her as a business contact that you want to talk to her in 60 days, but you haven't emailed her in 63 days now. Do you want to touch base and keep that relationship fresh? So it's kind of cool for that. It's just a lot of maintenance it's good. I mean, you need to be doing that, but more than I really cared to do at this point. But it's pretty cool. I appreciate what it does. It's worth checking out. They've got some good things, good mobile apps, lots of neat stuff there. For invoicing, we're still on FreshBooks. It's imperfect, but it's pretty in our customer stuff here. But those are the best solutions we found. I haven't found one that's adequately good that can do them both. But it works well. We can send invoices to folks. They can pay with PayPal or pay with Stripe or print it out and mail in a check, whatever they want to do. I can see when people have viewed an invoice. We love that. We can send an invoice, say, it's been 3 weeks, we've heard, oh, but look, they looked at it 3 times. So either we know they're going to pay it or we know they're ignoring it, or you can make your own judgments for what's going on there. But it really does nothing beyond invoicing, which is good. I like their focus, but again, it doesn't really connect anywhere else, which is
Have you been able to get it where, do you do anything with subscriptions, or do you?
Yeah, it does recurring billing. That's a good point.
Well,
Yes.
I saw that it does recurring billing, but they have to pay each time. So if someone's on a draft, like a monthly draft.
You can do that too.
You can?
The one thing I don't like, and I haven't figured out how, is they have to give me their credit card number and I put it in to do it every month. I wish I could say, send it to them and let them key it in. It's a little long, I don't like that. But I don't keep it, I don't see it anymore, but it's still, but yeah, so you can say, we have a lot of recurring ones that we set up for clients. Most of the time I have them recur and sit there, and then I have a task in Asana that says, hey, don't forget to send it. So I go in, make sure everything's good. I don't want it automatically sending too much. I want to make sure it's the right amount. But we do have some that recur and send automatically for them to pay, and then a few that recur and actually charge their card automatically, which is the best kind, but again,
Okay, I've got to send it, I can figure that out.
yeah, it's a little, if you go into the recurring, you can say, there's a little line, just lets you put in the credit card stuff, you can type it in yourself and do it. And so again, it's got a lot of things we like. So we've been with them for years and probably won't leave. I just wish it was a better all-in-one solution. Yeah, we pay $29 a month per user, maybe it's $29 a month total.
And then extra for the credit card?
No, the credit card, you pay Stripe for that. So, I think they connect to the computer folks. But Stripe is free. We use Stripe a lot. And then they charge, I don't know, 4% plus 25 cents, or I don't even know, 2.9%. It's a competitive rate. I don't know, but I remember researching it. It was pretty solid. But Stripe is free. And I like Stripe for collecting payments, not only for here, but we set up clients. So at WooCommerce to use Stripe just because it's easy to set up. It's good rates. It's simple to use. Just doesn't do anything. Stripe itself is stupid. You can't go and charge something. It has to connect to FreshBooks or WooCommerce or something has to fire into it to work. But yeah, so we have clients, a lot of them pay us through Stripe, and then we get a little notice that say they paid, and then 7 days later, show us in the bank. And it's kind of nice. And with FreshBooks, there is an integration through Zapier. You've heard of Zapier. There's Zapier and there's If, that are both tools that let you integrate lots of weird things with each other. You can take, every time I post on Facebook, save it in my Evernote. Every time I save something to Google Drive, have it tweet out, and just different things. And there's a good one that says every time a payment comes in on FreshBooks, post it on Slack. And so Allie and I have a private channel on Slack. So if one of us deposits a check, the other one sees it show up in Slack in our private channel. So when I say, oh, Allie, so-and-so finally paid today, we can see it without having to do that. Slack has a lot of integrations like that. Because they use Zapier, suddenly, it can integrate with anything. Every time someone posts on Facebook, do this, or someone tweets, or, yeah. Yes?
Have you ever looked at Wave?
Wave, we looked at it. Allie's looked more at accounting stuff. Wave, you're with Wave?
I've looked at Wave and Zero. All really good. Honestly, I think until the last month left, getting to see even a client open invoice is so nice. And I don't think any of them have that. Have you tried Harvest? It's been a while for me to just tell you when
Oh, yeah, it's great.
that one I've been working looking at again.
Yeah.
I like Harvest.
Yeah, Harvest is very popular. It does good time tracking and stuff built into it as well, which is nice.
And they're very competitive in the price.
Yeah, yeah. They're very that's the problem I think we've had. I think Harvest is great. I don't remember exactly what we saw, but they're so similar, it's going to be hard to justify moving all that, you know. So, yeah. But again, if I can find one that's great, I'm happy to move. I've just gone through moving billions of files in Google Drive and Evernote and all that. I don't mind. I kind of enjoy getting things organized, but that'd be a lot there.
I just recently looked at 17 hats, and it's great because it has workflow built in. But
Okay.
they don't support subscription payments.
Gotcha.
They
Okay.
don't do that. So.
Yeah, I always found a missing piece. The one that I really came close to switching to actually was QuickBooks. And we also need some collaboration. We need to tell people to log in and people to log in. And it didn't have a lot of different user profiles in that regard. And FreshBooks is that everybody has their own profile. So there's just everyone's, you know, just because we grow with it, sometimes your needs just
That's a good one. Sue?
So, I've been using QuickBooks for math, like, since forever, because it's really smooth to send to accountants for end of year tax stuff,
Okay.
save a lot of money, and bookkeepers all know. But it's ugly, and I'm just wondering if, and I've never used this coming year, I'm looking at online payment, and you can do it through QuickBooks. I looked at that online product, that QuickBooks product online for Mac,
Okay.
and it was so convoluted for me, I dumped it, like, after 2 days. I just went back to the basic
Yeah.
download version, but to pay, to invoice people, I'm just wondering, does anyone know to try to write it out and stay within QuickBooks, or is there any integration? If you invoice through one product, can you then easily add that information? I have a feeling that Intuit keeps QuickBooks like really separate. It's
I would
really the
think so.
accounting software, but it's ugly and
It is.
lame. But you know, I just wanted to see if anybody else works in QuickBooks and has any other invoicing product.
Okay, there you go. So Xero, Xero, she said integrates with QuickBooks. You can use that for accounting and have it tie back in. And heck, FreshBooks might. I don't know. I don't know that it does, but Carl.
There's also a product called Bill.com
Okay.
that you can use to pay, your vendors, but also receive money, and they do recurring. They can do bank drafts.
Is that what you guys use?
No, we use it for somebody else. But
Okay, gotcha. Cool. Bill.com. That's pretty solid there.
And that's $19 a month. So
Okay. Yeah, they're all in that 20 to 40-ish kind of range. Yeah. So FreshBooks.
Time on there?
What's that?
You keep your time.
Okay. We don't keep. Does not have. I was going to mention that. I almost forgot. It does not do time tracking, and that's one downside to Asana coming from Teamwork. Teamwork has time tracking built in. Asana does not. So we're now using a product called Toggle. TOGGL.com. That's great for time tracking. It syncs to Asana, can pull your data in, has desktop apps and web apps, and so we always have Toggle open when we need it. Say, start working on, it'll pull down your list of clients and stuff, and work on that project. And then just we have to run reports off that and invoice from it. So it's, not as seamless as some of the others. Again, Teamwork has it built in for tasks. I think Harvest has it built into the invoicing, so depending how you want to go. We have it built into nothing, we just have to go kind of reference it. We do relatively little that's time-based like that. It's more just for internal. We don't bill off that too much. It's more just how long did this project take? We said we thought it would take 200 hours and it took 300 hours, or whatever the number happens to be. Other invoicing, billing thoughts? And again, once we get that business meetup going, we may dig more into things like this and really dig into that, but for now, keep it fairly light. We've timed it pretty well. I'm on my last one here that the Green Melon folks will probably laugh at, but I love it lately. It's called Anki. Basically, it's for flashcard learning, to remember things. It's intended for learning languages. I'm using it to try to learn more names and faces. I've always considered myself bad at names. I'm just bad at names. That's just how I am. And then Kathy in the back, she's just good at names. That's just how she is. Except she's not good. If you've ever been to Kathy's meetup, she's not magically good. You'll see her stop every now and then and kind of like making sure, what's your name again? She works hard at remembering names. And so I'm trying to... She does everybody, but you work hard at it too, is my point, And that's what I do. So this is based on, there was a product 30 years ago, a guy named Peter Wozniak created called Super Memo. The idea is he did a lot of research saying the best time to remember something is right before you're going to forget it. which is hard to do automatically because you're going to forget it. You know, it's kind of like anti-lock brakes, where they work best right before you start to skid. You have the most traction, and that's where this is. And so Anki and SuperMemo and some of those do that. They try to estimate what that time will be. They show you a card and say, yep, I remember that one. They'll make it a little longer until they tell you again. And over time, it stretches out pretty long until you know someone by heart. You know, I have almost all of you in there, a lot of you in there, people I know perfectly well, but just, so it's every 6 months I say, hey, you know, I haven't seen Natalie in a while, so, you know, it's been 6 months. Oh yeah, I still know her, cool. Next time it's a year. You know, it stretches it out further. And for other folks, I say, oh, I forgot it, it resets it back. It's going to show you tomorrow then. It works well. The idea being I can put 2,000 cards in there for learning language or whatever, and over time it's like 10 a day you have to look at. You know, it's not a big deal once you get where they're memorized. If they're only shown every 6 months, it's only a few a day to remember, and it's kind of brilliant. Again, you use for other things. They have a lot, Anki in particular has a lot of other decks you can download. People have made for geography. If you want to learn, I'm trying to get, my geography skills are horrible, so let's work that. So it shows a map, and you know, what country is that? And you say, reveal it, and I say, oh crap, I thought it was Germany and France. You know, show me again tomorrow, you know, whatever it is. A lot of language, you can memorize Bible verses, just anything you want to try to remember and forget. It's kind of cool. So I've got like 500 people in there now, and I'm adding more all the time. You know, friends of my, parents of my kids' friends, just people I should know their name, like, is that Bill or Steve that was, you know, Lacey's dad? You know, so I have all that stuff in there. So it's pretty cool. SuperMemo is like the official one that they did years ago, but it's 30 years old and they've not really kept up super well. It's kind of pitiful. This one seems more popular. It's free to use on desktop, free to use on Android. They sync together. On Apple, it's $25. I don't know why, but that's what it is. But it is kind of nice. I can review my cards in one place and sync it back to their server for free, and so I can review somewhere else, they're all there. So AnkiSRS.net for that. And then there was an article I read that really inspired me to learn more about this staggered read. I can't remember what it's called. Spaced repetition, I think is what it is. But GMM2 Anki article takes you out to, I don't remember where it was. That article I read, that's pretty cool. So, yeah, that's about it for all of our tools. Any other thoughts here before we bring Carl back up to pick some winners?
Yeah, when you're talking about calendars,
yes,
I've been using Sunrise.
Okay, yeah, I use that for a while.
Practical, I know has been around. I think that's like it's called. I've been using Sunrise, and they were just purchased by Microsoft, who's going to be spending time integrating it into Outlook.
I'm sure, yeah. That's a shame.
Don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Right.
If you had any thoughts on.
Traditionally, it's a bad thing, I would think. I'm so happy to have not used Outlook for like 10 years. I had to before. However, their Office 365 product is pretty solid. So the integrated downline stuff, yeah, it could be pretty cool now. You know, when it first happened, I was like, oh, that's horrible. Now I'm like, okay, Office 365 is kind of their version of Google Docs and all that stuff. And I don't use it ever really, but I've heard it's pretty solid these days and does good. So it's a shame that it's probably going to be isolated. That it's no longer. I would expect it won't work with other products anymore. But yeah, you never know. Good thought though. Anything else? Cool. Yeah.
Probably put cards that go, oh.
No, I mean, we shared a bunch, but most of these categories we use one or two, and then I showed you the ones we didn't. It's not, you know, it's a good question.
Office 365 is not a big thing for you.
No, it's good, it's fine, but I'm invested in Google Apps, so I have no need
So
to.
what do you do, so what do you do for, this is probably going to sound ignorant, but
No,
like
go ahead.
for Microsoft Excel and all that stuff?
Well, we have those applications. If someone sends us one, we can open it, yeah. But we can open it if the client sends it. If we need to create one, we do it all in Google Drive.
And
Every
you can
time.
import Excel too.
Yeah, you can import them into Google Drive and stuff, yeah. But if I need to make a new spreadsheet, it's in Google Drive. I need to make a new document, it's in Google Drive. And that way it's just very quick to say, ooh, Allie, go check, and share it with her, or it's already in our shared stuff. Or
How did you get past on Google Drive, like with my P-brain, you know, the copy and pasting and all that kind of thing? I mean, I just can't not accept that.
what do you mean?
But you have, it's like, you know, you have to press a button and then another button. You can't just highlight it and then hit
No.
the delete button on Google.
No, I thought you could. I haven't had any issues like that. I mean, it's certainly not as powerful as real Excel, but
Or Word.
Or
Like,
Word, yeah.
I work in Word a lot, and I can just highlight a section and delete it if I with the delete
yeah,
button. But
you can in Google Drive. Yeah. We'll have to look and see. Maybe it's a browser issue or something, but yeah, you totally can.
You can?
It's brilliant. I watched, like, Allie and I, when we meet with a client, we both have Drive open in the same document. We basically share note-taking in one document. It's neat. I can see her, I can watch on my screen, I see her highlight stuff and delete it.
But
You know.
hit the delete button?
Yeah.
I mean, okay. I'll have to ask you.
Yeah.
Can I ask you about that?
Yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot to it. But yeah, there are, if you're a heavy Excel user, like Susanna knows all kinds of crazy Excel stuff. She needs Excel for that, for some of it. You get pivot tables and all that weird stuff. But for the most part, for stuff I do, I just want a list of, whatever's going on, and it works fine. So, Carl Becker, come on back up and let's.
And everybody,
Do I get your card in that one and try to win?
for Tom and cheese sandwich or something, or hosting. And there's still sandwiches in the back, including some very healthy cheese sandwiches.
Those are awesome.
If you don't eat them, Mickey will.
Mickey's on Whole 30. He's
Yeah, I can't.
trying
I can't
so
right
hard
now.
not to
I'll
eat
save
them.
them. Next time I'll eat them all, but I can't. If your significant other wants you to try Whole 30 with her, don't.
Yes.
It's
Whole 30.
It's like paleo, but for a month. It's like paleo, but worse.
Oh, okay.
But it's intended to be just for 30 days, just to kind of get all that crap cleaned out, and then it's been good. I mean, but it's tough. I mean,
Did you have the broccoli for breakfast today?
yeah, I had broccoli for breakfast with my breakfast today. Like,
Oh, yeah, that's good.
it's just more bacon.
That's good. Oh,
Cheese.
Turkey bacon.
Yeah, you get a real bacon as long as it doesn't have sugar in it, which they all have. It's hard to find bacon with no sugar in it. So.
And yeah, it can't have nitrates. Like they're
So,
very strict.
Yeah.
Who's Gary? Gary?
Sorry.
Yeah, you got the Tom and Chi in Kennesaw. It's $10 and go and have some food. And Jody.
Yes.
Hey,
Tom and Chi. So this is friend of April Rose, Chris Schuh, who entered this.
oh, Chris slipped out.
Yeah,
Oh, she
She
slipped
did,
out?
yeah.
Okay, well, she won
Must be present to win.
she got.
So I win in her place.
I'll follow up with her, but she got the hosting, so,
Oh, cool. I like that.
thank you guys.
Cool, thanks so much. Yeah, we'll have
Carl.
video and slides next week.
Woo!